Harambe friends, it's your boy Charles here with another comic review. Now I'm gonna let you know right off the bat, this is not gonna be a blow by blow, point by point review of this book. Mainly because while it's unique, it doesn't fare too far away from comic tropes. So I think it would be redundant, but I want to talk about the overall importance and impact of this very enjoyable comic, and that is Kahhori, Reshaper of Worlds. It is part of the Marvel Voices run, where they elevate and highlight stories from marginalized groups, from minorities. And they have put out some great stuff. They did a great Robbie Reyes Ghost Rider kind of anthology of 3 stories. They did a Werewolf by Night, which featured a Native American protagonist. I believe he was from the Arizona area, the Navajo area. And this right here is a new female protagonist who I believe is from the Mohawk tribe. And one thing I love about these books is it gives you a lot of insight to what went into the creation and writing of these books. There is a good 1, 2, 3, 4 page preamble before you even get to the first panel, which is all about the artist, the creation of it, how they collaborated. And the thing I love about the writer is this character was first introduced in the What If series on Disney Plus. I believe she had an episode. And the writer went out of his way to collaborate and consult with elders from the Mohawk tribe and really did a lot of homework. And I believe the episode, I haven't seen it, I don't have Disney Plus, but I believe it was in the original Mohawk language, which is very cool. And he consulted with multiple elders and multiple people to come up with this character and this story. And she is a powerful female protagonist in the 1600s, pre-America, who was fighting off colonialism and is beset upon by her universe's version of Loki, who wants to capture this power to give her superpowers. And they battle throughout time and space. Here they bust into New York, present day in this universe, and they interact with Daredevil and Echo, who is another Native American character. And you see them here getting Indian tacos, which, if you're not familiar, it's fry bread, which is amazing, but not the best for you. And then you have taco toppings on top of the fry bread. It's amazing, but I can't mess with it because I'm a fat man, and I will go ham on some fry bread. I will get ridiculous with strain. Sorry about that. But she battles him through time and space, like I said, all leading back to the final battle in which his lust for power ends up defeating himself. Oh, she also interacts with Moon Knight. And throughout this, you have lots of themes, that he gleaned from these Native American elders, like on Sky World, and a lot of their teachings and mythology on the moon and different things. And things like this are important. I will give you a little background. I was born and raised in Casper, Wyoming. And my education on Native American history, sadly, was at a time where Native Americans were the antagonists and they were savages. And we were fed a lot of misnomers, mistruths, and outright lies about that community. And I didn't realize it until my father married a Native American woman from the Arapaho tribe. And I got to know her and her family and her history and a lot of their customs, and that knowledge, it turned who I was taught was dangerous and savage into literal family and a culture that I share a lot of kinship with. I even wore my shirt from Resi Vibes, a Native American store from a friend of mine, Jim Thorpe, on it for this review. And knowledge destroys fear. So the more you can learn about a people, a culture, a tradition, the less you will fear it. And that's important to me because as a very big black man, I got crazy dreadlocks. Media tells you that I am somebody to be feared, that I am intimidating. But if you spend a minute getting to know me, you know that I'm not to be feared. I'm not at all intimidating. I'm just an old nerd who probably likes tacos too much. And that's why. And I think things like Marvel Voices, where, you get to hear these characters, and they really do seek to give an accurate interpretation of these cultures. Um, and then also another great initiative is the Horizon experiment from Image Comics, where they're doing the same thing as Marvel Voices, but what it is they're releasing multiple one shots that focus on different cultures, different writers, different creators, and what they want to do with this initiative is to take familiar tropes and give them a minority protagonist. Like the first book I read from the Horizon Experience was called Motherfucking Monsters. And it was a take on an Evil Dead type story, but with a black nerd as the protagonist. This is Finders Keepers, kind of an Indiana Jones for with a Native American female as the protagonist. And what she is doing is trying to repatriate stolen art and antiques back to her homeland. And that's, and then you go to DC, they have DC Power. And what I think is one of the greatest imprints is DC Milestones, where the whole universe of, black characters written by black people, um, that give a real insight to the community while also giving us the opportunity to see ourselves in these fantastical stories, these bigger than life superhero stories. And so that's why I always love and support initiatives like this, especially when they're done right, like this is. Far too often, these stories are told by people who have an ulterior motive or objective. And, like I said, knowledge only decreases fear. So check out Marvel Voices Kahhori, Reshaper of Worlds, a local comic book store. Um, and I'm sure you're familiar with a lot of the Milestones characters, Icon and Rocket. Static Shock is probably the most known. Blood Syndicate, Hardware, from DC. Those are all good books. And with the Horizon experiment, like I said, they have a bunch of different books that they put out, and the more that you buy, that's going to help them to decide what they're going to continue with. You have a book called The Manchurian, which is I believe, South Asian James Bond. The Sacred Damned, I'm not sure what that's about. Moondogs, again, I didn't read that one, but I might have to get in that. It's a good looking cover right here. Again, as I said before, Motherfucking Monsters, which is a take on the Evil Dead featuring a black nerd protagonist. So that's my thoughts on Marvel Voices, Kahhori, Reshaper of Worlds. You will not be disappointed. It's a very enjoyable book. So that being said, if you don't have a comic book shop that you can find these at, I always suggest my friends at Coffee and a Comic. They ship nationwide. They have great service, and probably the best deals on shipping with the fastest shipping you're going to see. So check them out, coffeeandcomic.com. I'll post a link to their YouTube in the description of this video. Until next time, keep reading them books. I'm going to.